We're right back here again. Ooh, we're right back here again. Week 8, another great week of football last week. We have to give huge props to the Pittsburgh Steelers for pulling a big upset, dethroning the 5-0 Titans, now 5-1. Now the only undefeated team in the league. Well, until this Sunday, but
For a few
we'll
more
see
days,
about
yeah.
that. We'll see about that. Um, it feels good to sit in first place after making a huge risky pick to pick Arizona to beat Seattle. Y'all should have listened to me about Kyler. He wasn't gonna be. He was gonna play a good game, but they played very well. Packers. I mean, we all said it. He's not gonna come out have another bad game back to back. It just doesn't seem like him. Devontae went off. He did his thing. New England surprised me last week. I know Faison has some words to say about New England. He'll bring that in later. And another great game by Tom Brady, proving New England wrong and having another MVP game. And Rams, they just did what they had to do, keep the division a little closer. And before we jump into this week's of games, we want to introduce a special guest. The boss gave us a call. He wanted to join us for the week. So, Mr. Woodward, would you introduce yourself?
Well, I'm just a humble participant here in what is a great group of guys talking football each week, and I'm a huge Pats fan from back in the day when you could sneak into the stadium by going through a chain link fence. You didn't have to go to Patriot Place or past the Patriot Hall of Fame. Those things were way in the future. So I humbly sit here as a 2-4 Pats fan, just like it was when I was a kid, but. I'm not a bandwagon jumper, but I'm not going to jump off of this one either. So, I'm hoping for the best this week, and I'm excited to be here to make some picks with you guys.
Now going into a great group of games. You got a game that could shift the whole AFC East. We got the New England Patriots traveling to Buffalo. Buffalo has a 3.5 point edge over on this 44. Ms. Ellis, what do you think?
Well, I think back to 1992, the last time Buffalo won a playoff game in Pittsburgh in Bill Cowher's first season as coach. And I say to myself, well, New England has now won, I believe, 11 straight times at Buffalo. Is that correct? I think it's the number. Uh, Look, Buffalo is not impressive. I have not been a believer since day one. I'm still not a believer in Allen. I'm just not a believer in their team. They choke. When it comes down to it, they lose. And I think that New England will bounce back this week and get the win. I still think, and have said since day one, that New England will find a way to win this division, even if it's at 9-7. I think they will find a way to win this division. Look, they've got holes, they've got problems, but Coach Belichick knows what to do against Buffalo. He knows what to do against Allen. They're going to find a way to win this game, and I don't think it's going to be pretty. But I also think Buffalo not having the home field advantage, no Bills Mafia, is really going to hurt them in this game. It was a real opportunity to pounce. Tom Brady was unfazed by any of that stuff, but you still got a relatively new offense going on there. And of course, defensively, they are banged up and they're also just missing players since day one. But end of the day, I like the Patriots to hang on, win this game on a late field goal, 2017.
I agree with Mr. Ellis, but I just think the Patriots just fell apart last week. No hate towards them, even though like I hate them, but like I feel like they're still alright. But like I feel like leaving, like Tom Brady leaving was, I guess, a big deal. I don't think Cam Newton is a good QB, but soon as COVID hit him, I think it just snapped. Like things just snapped. He just became the Cam that he was like in the Panthers, like late. But I got the Bills winning 23-17.
I mean, I don't think anybody can trust Josh Allen to break the streak for against Bill Belichick. I can remember when people had him in MVP in the MVP race, and it was funny because no one would take it seriously, no matter what, how many touchdowns he had, no matter what he put up, because we all knew Josh Allen would turn back to Josh Allen, and I could see Josh Allen same thing he did against the Titans game, just mess up that game quickly in a matter of seconds. And I didn't pick. I said Bill Belichick wouldn't lose his third straight. He ended up doing. I'm not gonna pick against him today. I'm gonna say the Patriots win 27-13. Pretty easy win for the Belichick.
Well, I can't really go against any of that thinking. I definitely, I think after 3 losses like this, you can only think that Belichick's going to be doing everything he can, not that he wasn't in the previous weeks, to get these guys back on the right track and potentially back in the division race. I can't even believe I'm saying this, but we're not going into the Dolphins game, but at 3-3, they'll have to leapfrog them at this point, and that is not a position the Pats have been in at this point in the season. So there's no doubt Cam needs a big game. We need him back. We need him playing the way he did those first few weeks. I mean, he was a half a yard away from beating the Seahawks in Seattle and what would have been just an amazing win for the Pats. But since then, it's been kind of downhill. So, the COVID diagnosis and then recovery, hopefully he's back and feeling better. And I think he still has some big games in him. And I think this is going to be one where he doesn't put up huge numbers, but he's going to play well enough to get them a win. The defense is going to come up strong because that's where all their concentration is this week. They just need Cam to play well, make good decisions, and not turn over the ball. And the defense, as the Patriots have done for years, is a bend but don't break. And don't give up too many points. I got it 20-13 Pats.
This is challenging for me because last week I had technical issues and I couldn't be on the show. I apologize for that. But I texted Emmanuel the score and I had us losing. And for the sole reason that this offense is terrible to watch. It is god awful to watch and I can't stand it. But at the same time, we just need to play better. And it's simple as that. And it's not just Cam, it's the wide receivers. N'Keal Harry, he's got to get open. Julian Edelman, week in and week out, I'm feeling that he's washed and he can't do anymore. I hate to say that, and it pains me to say that because he's like one of my favorite players, but I don't think he just has it anymore. Our tight end, to be honest, I don't even know his name. I don't know his name. These guys need to find a way to get open. Pro Football Focus last year had us ranked dead last in wide receiver separation. We're the exact same spot today. They need to find a way to get open. And this Bills secondary is nice with Tre'Davious White, and those boys. They're going to come out ready to play. We need to come out ready to play too, because this is, to be honest, this is a make or break game for me. If we don't win this game, then the season's a wash. It really is. I have us losing. 20-14.
Big phase on. I think this really shows the importance of practice and stuff like that, and how COVID really messed up the rhythm and the timing and the practice that all the Patriots have put in. This is I can't believe it's this is not even the same team I watched against the Seahawks. The same team that blew out the Raiders. It's just completely different. The communication on the defensive off. The offense. Cam Newton obviously missed some time. Yeah, it just looks like a completely different team. But I don't trust Josh Allen. I would rather have Bill Belichick than Josh Allen. I pick him over Josh Allen any day. I have the Patriots winning this one. Close one, 20-17.
Wow. This is a hard game to pick because I really do like Buffalo and I think they can really prove people wrong. But at this point, I don't think Bill's gonna let this division walk away from them at the way it's looking. Because Buffalo's a good team, but when they played a really good opponent, they've lost. They got annihilated by Tennessee, and they got beaten by Kansas City, and I think they just got saved because it was raining, and Kansas City didn't do much. And I think Bill Belichick will have their number, and to save their season, they have to beat Buffalo. Because next week they have the Jets, and I see them maybe ending up 4-5, counting if they lose to Baltimore. I still have faith in Belichick, and yes, Tom Brady's a big loss, but he's not the only loss. They also had 8 opt-outs, lost one of their star defensive players in Dante Hightower. That's a big loss, and Cam Newton with COVID. A lot of things are going wrong for the Patriots, but if anyone can bounce from that, it's Bill Belichick, and I believe in him. I believe he'll come in and win this game. Very close. I say New England wins 20-17.
All right, let's keep it rolling. No faith in Bills Mafia. Again, I'm always worried that like Bills Mafia, you guys know they're like a really vindictive bunch, man. Like they jump through tables and stuff. Like, just I'm making sure that my profile identity is the only one anybody can see when these are posted, So if there's a fall guy, it's going to be me from Bills Mafia because, I can always lean back on Anchor Bar, the great wings in Buffalo. I can talk about wings and maybe save myself from Bills Mafia. But yeah, let's keep it moving here, Manuel.
Next, we got another game. We got San Francisco 49ers at the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers coming off Patriots fans know what that game was. And Seattle coming off a big loss to the Arizona Cardinals and my MVP pick, Kyler Murray. But enough of that. Seattle's favored by 3 over under 54. Mr. Ellis?
Wow, this is a tough game to pick because, what was we talked about last week, which San Francisco team is the real team, the one that got blown out by Miami or the one that went into New England and just dominated? It's hard to tell. But I think my prediction from the beginning of the year, I'm going to still hold to, which is that there will be a non-playoff year in San Francisco this year. Always a Super Bowl loser has a tough time rebounding that next year. And so I still think that curse will hold against them. Seattle's going to bounce back in this game. Boy, the insertion of Dunlap, he won't be able to play this week, but just getting him is a huge kick in the pants, I think, for that Seattle defense, which was awful in that game, particularly late. But I also want to give credit to Kyler Murray. I have not been quick to give him credit. Emmanuel, I'm going to say that, I think your early prediction is real interesting with him, and it's starting to look pretty formidable. With that said, though, I think Seattle's going to do what they need to do. They're going to win this game. Russell Wilson owns the Niners. I mean, that one play last year, the few inches that just missed, that was tough. But I think he bounces back and rallies, and I think they get the win in this game. It's going to be a close game, but I like Seattle to win the game 31-27.
I agree with Mr. Ellis, but I believe it won't be a close game. I got the Seahawks winning, like, easily because, see, look, if you stop the Niners run game, I feel like they're nothing. Jimmy G had 2 picks. Yes, he was 20 for 25, 277 yards. But he had 2 picks. That's because the running back can carry the game. I like that scheme too because we sometimes do that. But see, Seahawks are smart. They will stop your run game. They stopped Kenyon Drake. They stopped the Cardinals run game, but the Cardinals were good enough and beat them by defense and passing. And I feel like Jimmy G has to do that. If he doesn't do that, I got the Seahawks winning 25-21. 24-21, sorry.
I mean, I really don't like Emmanuel trying to brag about his Cardinals pick because that game could have went either way. It was from the Cardinals icing their own kicker to Wilson throwing the dumbest pick of the year, one of his. And people forgetting Wilson made many great plays, like to title lock up the whole game. And that was another MVP game if he didn't just fumble it late in the game. And I don't think he's going to lose the Niners. The Niners, like he said, is a flip-flop team. And Wilson's going to have another MVP performance. They're going to win. It's going to be a great game like every single Seahawks game. And it's going to be down to the wire. Wilson, game-winning drive, 31-24. And, yeah, last week was a really good game, but I don't see Niners getting that lucky with Wilson throwing another dumb pick.
All right, so this is a great game, and I got to say this for Kyler Murray before I start. I grew up watching Doug Flutie play at Boston College, man, and nobody cared about them at all until Doug Flutie went there, and he was just fun to watch. Whether he threw picks, touchdowns, ran, and that's what Kyler Murray is. He's better than Doug Flutie, I think, in the sense that, he's playing in a time where he's embraced, and he is incredible. I love watching him play. I love what he did last week, and he's a winner. What did he win? 3 straight high school state championships in Texas, which is like winning the ACC for crying out loud, So the idea behind him being a great quarterback is not surprising. And then that brings me to Russell Wilson. I remember when Russell Wilson was at North Carolina State before he transferred to Wisconsin. I can't even believe North Carolina State wasn't going to start him at quarterback the year after he had a great year, and he transferred to Wisconsin, and he has just been rising ever since. Great football player. However, he plays with a team with a defense that is so bad that they are on pace for the most yards given up in a season. They are on pace for that right now. And that's why they are always in these games, because they should be blowing people out if they had a decent defense, but the defense is letting everybody back in the games. And I think San Francisco's offense is rounded into form a little bit. That guy was running downhill last week against the Pats, and I know the Pats didn't play well, but I think that with a Seattle defense that is not very strong, I think the Niners might round into form just enough into this game, pick up their pace from last week. I got the Niners 28-24 in another close game in Seattle.
This is a close game as well, because I felt like the Seahawks had that in the bag Sunday night. And Russell Wilson, he just, like I said, I think he's the MVP, but I don't know what's going, like, that those three picks were like the one with the goal line where he just threw it up. I don't know what was that. Like, I don't know why you're not, bulleting that pass, or you can't throw a lob in the red zone. And then of course the overtime pick where Isaiah Simmons got the interception, which led to Cardinals field goal. I do 27, really close game, but yeah, I do have the Seahawks.
I'm gonna have to go with Mr. Woodward here, honestly. The Seahawks, the 49ers offense is just getting into their groove, and you saw it against the Patriots. They were just rolling, honestly. Who was the running back? Wilson, I think, 3 touchdowns. It was seamless. With most of it, was just seamless, honestly. And that Seahawks defense is god awful. Even though I don't think they have the personnel to match up with the Seahawks receivers, Lockett, DK. Lockett was crazy last week, but I still think there's so much Russell Wilson can do, and it's going to come to a point where his defense is going to have to step up, and I don't think they're going to step up this game against the Niners run offense, basically. Since Dunlap can't play, like Mr. Ellis said, I have the Niners winning this one 31-24.
I'm going to have to agree with it says and Mr. Woodward for just a couple reasons. One, if the playoffs started today, San Francisco is not in it. And reason is because the division is so good. They need to win this game if it means for them to go to the playoffs. They need to. Because the Eagles, and the NFC least is taking up a playoff spot, which I don't agree with. And Seattle, that defense gave no help to Wilson. Like, they're expecting Wilson to play a perfect game for them to win. And for him to play a perfect game, they still almost lose. Like, every game they played this year literally has been miraculous wins. The New England game, if Cam Newton just read it and bounced outside, that's a loss right there. If the Vikings, instead of going for it on fourth, just kicked the field goal, who would have known Seattle would have lost that game? There are a lot of games that Seattle should have lost, but they won instead because Russell Wilson keeps helping them so much. And Arizona just proved Wilson could do so much. Like, Wilson didn't have a bad game, but he didn't play enough for them to win. Those 3 interceptions were very costly. And the 49ers defense is not great, but it's a lot better than the Seahawks defense, and they'll get the job done. I think they do match up because Jason Verrett's been on fire. He's been looking really good since he was last time I saw him that good, that was with the Chargers, and he looks good now. So, and that run game, like he said, they're clicking. Any running back that they place in there is just clicking. And I just don't. Wilson will have a great game, but that defense, I just don't trust Seahawks defense. I'm taking the 49ers 24-21.
Think about it, guys. Everybody mentioned Russell Wilson being the reason why they're in every single one of these games, just cementing the MVP status that he has right now, because he's literally carrying them through all these terrible defensive games and managing to get them to 5-1. Amazing.
Also amazing, $1.75 million donated by Russell Wilson and Kiara to build a school that will be a charter school, but a school that will benefit students that really need the opportunity to have access to technology that they need. So big ups to Russ, and big ups to Russ and Kiara for that. Respect him as a player, respect him as a person, way more.
That's a most valuable human move there.
Absolutely. And, second shout out to Magic Johnson, who won another championship with another team that he's part owner of. again, just demonstration of paying it forward in sports, ladies and gentlemen. That brings us to, the big matchup today where, we got two teams that pay it forward to each other quite a bit, actually. Manuel. Think you're on mute there, bud. You don't hold these thoughts back.
Pretty interesting game. We got the Las Vegas Raiders coming off a blowout loss against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, going to play the Cleveland Browns after beating the Bengals and thinking that's a win, thinking that's a good game. But I digress. Mr. Ellis, what do you think, since Cleveland has a 2.5 point edge and the over-under is 53.5?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Cleveland to win this game, and I'm gonna take it to win the game because they're at home, and this is another travel for Las Vegas having to play in a 1:00 slot. That's tough. But secondly, I think that Faker. I don't want to go this far, but it was the Bengals' horrendous defense and a team in complete disarray. But he showed some resolve late in the game. That was a game that they had to win last week, and they almost didn't. But they did win it. As ugly as it was, they did win it. So I think it'll be enough at home that they're going to get by in this game. And I still think they're a legit play-in for the 7th seed in the AFC because they have a good front seven. I like 26-23 Cleveland Clowns.
I got the Las Vegas Raiders. I think they bounced back after getting crushed by the Buccaneers. I think they bounced back. I got the Raiders winning 21-24 by a field goal. See, I'm like Mr. Ellis. I just don't believe in the Browns. I don't believe in Faker. Yeah, he did a good job bouncing back, 5 touchdowns, very good game by him. But again, it's the Bengals. The Raiders have a much better defense, so I got the Raiders winning 24-21.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an offensive matchup completely with two teams who don't really have, I don't think, top tier defenses or top tier teams. But the Browns, people love to give Baker credit yesterday against the Bengals and saying, "Oh my goodness, he did that with OBJ." It was a great touchdown pass. It was a beautiful dime, but people forgetting this man threw a pick six in his first play against the Steelers. Okay, amazing pass D. And then the Bengals the next week, like I don't even know where they rank it defensively in the pass protection. But if anybody actually believes that Baker will be a starting QB, it's a legit starting QB. I think it's hilarious. He has one great game, great games against horrible teams. Against what was it? The Cowboys defense. Not even a great game, just a win. And the Colts, then this week against the Bengals, but then folds against the Steelers and Ravens. He's not a real QB who can start against any legit team. And even though the Rays are not a legit team, I don't think they'll give up what the Bengals gave. And I got the Bengals winning a high scoring game, 35-31. And I like Waller get beasting, like going crazy this game. Godwin had a crazy game last week, and I think Waller can do that too this week.
So all of my Oakland friends who are, big time Raiders fans, they're having a hard time with the move. They already had the Los Angeles move and then come back, and now they're struggling, trying to think to themselves, how do I support the Las Vegas Raiders? So that's a tough one for me to even pick a game with them in it, having lived in Oakland for 5 years and keeping the Raiders, as kind of like a second team for myself. You gotta love the black hole and the Raider Nation out there. And so, for those folks, I say to myself, it's tough ever to pick the Raiders. So I reached out to somebody who you guys all know well, my esteemed colleague and Mr. Ellis's esteemed colleague, Mr. Smith. And I asked him, Mr. Smith, what's the score going to be for this one? Because I knew he'd want to pick it. And he said, Baker is feeling dangerous again. Even without OBJ, Mayfield lights up the Vegas secondary. Final score, Browns 38, Raiders 31.
Yeah, like what the guy said. Baker had a great. I'm not gonna like. I'm not a hater. Like Baker played good. He played great. After that interception, he bounced back. He had like I don't know, like 20 straight completions, whatever. That was good by him. I want consistency from Baker Mayfield. I don't want one game. This he calls out the haters and then he disappears the next game. I don't want that. I want consistency from him. I think this game. I think they're gonna win it this game. I feel like Myles Garrett. He's playing like he's defensive player of the year. He's playing unbelievable. I don't think I can trust the Raiders defense at all though. I don't know. They're just sketchy. But I do have the Browns winning this. I'm gonna say 27-17. 27-17.
Yeah, just building on what Faison said, it's just a cycle every year. Baker Mayfield plays bad for a long period of time. He plays decent against a good team. I mean, a bad team, and then he says, "I'm back. I'm dangerous. I'm feeling it again," and then he plays bad again. And I'm honestly tired of it. I give him props against what he did versus the Bengals, but like JB said, it's the Bengals. I feel like the Raiders know this is a must-win. They're 3-3, and after this week, they go into the Chargers, who are picking up steam. Justin Herbert looks amazing. Um, I think I'm gonna have to pick the Raiders here. I think Josh Jacobs is gonna go off 28-20 Raiders.
This is quick. I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. Raiders are winning. I don't trust Baker. We're right in the cycle again where he has a great game against a bad team, which he shouldn't have. That game's more about Joe Burrow because he played a heck of a game with the team he has, and the fact that Baker's not playing not playing particularly well with the team he has and the head coach, which I actually like Stefanski, is just I just don't believe in Baker, and I'm not gonna waste my time on this. John Gruden's gonna beat him. He's gonna outcoach stuff. But he's gonna find some way to get to Baker. Um, be high scoring, but I'm gonna take the Raiders to win 38-31. Now, on to the biggest game in arguably a game of the year and has huge, and I mean huge playoff implications. We have the undefeated Pittsburgh Steelers rolling into a fresh and healthy Baltimore Ravens off a bye. Baltimore's favored by 3.5 points over under 46. I can go into the playoff implications. This is huge because again, if the playoffs ended right again today, Pittsburgh's the 1 seed and Baltimore's the 5th, going to play Buffalo. If let's say Baltimore wins, we're rolling right into Pittsburgh for the divisional matchup. And this game, because I see us seeing Pittsburgh again in the playoffs. I do see it unless somehow either us or Pittsburgh lose a game that makes it so we don't see each other. But Mr. Ellis, what do you think?
Well, I think one of these two teams is going to the Super Bowl. That I'm going to say. I'm not ready to say which one yet, but I think one of these two teams will be the AFC representative in the Super Bowl. Now, that said, this game means a lot more to the Ravens than it does to the Steelers. A lot more. Ravens had a week off of preparation, so no excuses. You had a whole week off while we were supposed to have a week off, and we had to play Tennessee thanks to their indiscretion. So when that kick went a little bit to the right, I think that was a little bit of karma pushing it that way. Not just for Hockey Lee, who, tried to do his best to make the game interesting. The Steelers a .483 winning percentage when a Hockey Lee referees and a .614 winning percentage since 1994 when a Hockey Lee does not referee. So something fishy there. But that said, right? That said, this game means a lot more to the Ravens. They're at home. They got to hold serve in this one at home and get this win. I think they're going to be well rested. I think Aden Ngakoue is interesting. It breaks my heart as a Terps fan, knowing that Ngakoue grew up as a Pittsburgh fan. And now here he is playing for the Ravens, a former Terp, one of my favorite Terps of the last decade plus, is now going to be playing for the Ravens, much like Smith. I'm just like, wow, Torrey out there for the Ravens. And now you've added Ngakoue. This hurts, man. See these Terps playing for Baltimore. But first game in Ngakoue, he doesn't really need to learn much. He's a north-south guy. All he does is just rush the passer, so he's an easy fit and plug and play in their defense. Same time, you look at what we saw in the second half last week, and what I saw was not good for Ben Roethlisberger. I saw old Road Ben rear his ugly head in the second half. And Road Ben is something that Steeler fans that are like me like to keep in the lore. Road Ben is the guy who all of a sudden just forgets his head when he goes on the road. All of a sudden, like he's not around his kids, he's not around his family, and he just lost his mind on the road. He just can't focus. Second half, it looked like that. He was pressing. He was trying to force balls in there. He took a big whack in the first half, which is kind of underrated. It was on the second drive. He took a big whack, and it kind of got to him a little bit. And I saw his feet were a little happy after that the rest of the game. And I think he carries those happy feet into Baltimore. He's not played well in Baltimore since 2017, where he had a great game in what was the last game of the era before Lamar Jackson. Interestingly enough, Lamar has never played against Ben, which is crazy to think, right? Because Lamar feels like a household name in Baltimore now. Flacco feels like a distant memory, but they've never played each other. So the Steelers' defense actually matches up, I think, very favorably against the Ravens' offense. The Ravens don't have anybody that can beat you in the middle of the field. And I think that's what's going to make their Super Bowl run tough. They really don't have that. Yeah, you can have Des Bryant, 85 years old, come in there as he did this week and, mimic Chase Claypool in practice, which is about what he can do now, having not played for 3 years. But don't be surprised if they bring him up and just have him post up over the middle on, a shorter nickel corner for the Steelers, whether it's Hilton, where I hope he plays, or Sutton. But I see the Ravens winning this game because I think it won't be our defense that costs us. It's going to be our offense turning the ball over. I think Ben just something about that second half didn't look right for me last week at all. And I'm concerned. And I think that's going to carry over into this game too. I think Ben's got the happy feet right now, and he's going to have to kind of recalibrate himself. He's already kind of been making excuses in the media about, hey, we had to play last week and they didn't. And as a fan, I'm allowed to make those excuses. But man, number 7, you're getting paid $30 million a year. You better not make any excuse for what the situation is. You get your butt out there and play. Okay. But I see us turn the ball over a little bit. I just see us we're due to lose a game. We're not going undefeated. And this game, the Ravens need a lot more than we do. So I see our defense playing pretty well, but I'm seeing them having to play with some short fields due to turnovers by us. James Conner had a fumble on the first drive. We luckily recovered it. Deontay Johnson holding the ball out like a loaf of bread, as good as he is. I just feel like this might be a game where a lot of things catch up to us. We're due for now. We got 3 easy games after this before we play Baltimore again. All we got to do, honestly, to win this division is beat Baltimore in Pittsburgh and beat the Bills, and we win the division. And there's nothing the Ravens can do about it. Literally nothing the Ravens can do about it if we do those 2 things. We will win the division outright. So I like Baltimore 24-16 in this one. And I like Steelers to be holding a lot of cards, not showing too much in this game, holding a lot back. As Bill Cowher used to say, a fact-finding mission for this trip. I see them kind of holding back a little bit in this game. 24 Baltimore, 16 Pittsburgh. Can't wait to see you in Pittsburgh on Thanksgiving.
You guys know what time it is, right? Game of the week. Baltimore Ravens. El Freaky. We were back. 14-2 off the bye. We won every game off the bye last year. Patriots 8-0 last year. Took the L.
Well, there was that one playoff game off the bye that wasn't a win. But
it's all good. We don't talk about that, Mr. Ellis. We're talking about the Steelers and the Ravens game. We're about to hand you guys your first L. You guys should have lost to the Titans by getting you guys karma. That kick. Gostkowski should have made that kick. Would have made my dream come true, man. It's all good though. El Freaky will beat you guys. Lamar Jackson will beat you guys. You guys will get your first L, in Baltimore. As you said, Big Ben would choke. I got the Baltimore Ravens winning, man. 21-28. I think it'll be a close game. Again, I don't think Mr. Ellis is right. I don't think their defense will cost them the game. I think it's Big Ben. I think throws a last pick. It's 21-21. He'll throw a last pick. Lamar goes down the field, scores a touchdown. Game over. 28-21. Lamar Jackson wins it.
Well, Mr. Ellis
Trust. My bad. I said trust.
Sorry. Mr. Ellis is talking about many things catching up on the Steelers, but Ravens fans have not had a secure, good win the whole season against one single team, a good team. Chiefs game, yeah, that's Mahomes. He owns the Ravens. The Eagles game, they're taking it for granted as if they played well. Miles Sanders drops literally a touchdown in his hands.
I'm not trying to interrupt you, but I did not say we take it. All right, see, now you're hitting me.
You're not the only Ravens fan that exists. You're
when
not
a
the
team
only
has
Ravens
13
fans.
flags, when a team has 13 flags, we would.
JP.
If we lost that game, I would have been mad because
if it wasn't for Doug Peterson,
but I did not
choosing
say
to go for 2. You guys are literally sending that game to OT. Doug Peterson not only chooses to go for
you may continue. I'll see you on
2, costing his team the game.
I'll see you on Monday. You may continue.
Puts in Hurts, not Wentz.
You may continue.
Hurts.
You may continue.
JP,
you may
it's
continue.
Okay. It's okay.
It's okay. You're a Packers fan. You guys lost to Tom Brady, but we won't go down.
You can handle your pain in the playoffs when Lamar folds again year after year. I hope you just save this anger till then. But if it wasn't for Doug Peterson making a horrible decision early in the game to go for 2 for no reason, they're down. The 2 did not help. And he chooses to put in Hurts. Every single time he puts in Hurts, the play goes nowhere. It's tackle for a loss, a couple yards. He did it against the Steelers. It's not really much success. And then he chose to do a QB draw. Then in the last drive for the final 2-point conversion, he decides to do a QB draw again after it failed the first time, as if something was going to change. It was horrible play calling. And Wentz literally getting demolished every single play and still managed to bring them back in the game. And Miles Sanders, if Miles Sanders had any hands, if they had any hands as receivers, they're winning that game. It wouldn't. But Ravens are coming off a bye, as you can see, very, very proud of their win. Let them have it. They can win this game. They're at home. They should be favored. But I'll pick the Steelers to win this game, 31-24. Ravens fans, it's just wait for the playoffs to come in. You guys are gonna just fall apart just like you do every single year.
I love it, actually. I love
it. The brain is gonna click off, and you're just gonna see Lamar Jackson turn into Jamarcus Russell.
I love it, bro. I love it.
So I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I know we have passionate fans on both sides, but I got to mention a couple of things. One, Mr. Ellis, I don't know where you're pulling those hockey league statistics out of. That is some deep dive right there, man, to get those numbers on the winning percentages when hockey leagues reffing versus not. That's amazing. That's some deep dive Steeler territory, Steeler nation stuff.
I wrote some letters. I got a cease and desist order from him back in 2001. So
does that include Hockey League's son as well?
Yeah, hey, worst family in sports.
So with that being said, it's amazing. The Steelers are at the top of everybody's rankings right now because everybody loves a 6-0 team. And of course, the Ravens are right there in the top 4. I read something on CBS that said Harbaugh went out there and got Ngakoue just for this game, just for the Steelers, So Big Ben's a tough guy to take down. You got to put some pressure on him. He does get the happy feet. He doesn't move from the pocket, so he's got to get rid of it or move up in the pocket. And he's made his whole career off of that with 6-7 guys hanging off him. But those days are over. One thing I do have to mention just real quick is, I do feel good for the rest of the league finally that the Patriots have come back down to earth. Everybody's been waiting for it for about 10 years. So it is nice to see everybody else get all excited that their team has a chance to make it to the AFC title game or the championship. So you're welcome. I'm glad to see everybody's enjoying it. But I will say this, though. I'm not giving up on the Steelers. I definitely, that defense is putting pressure. I think that, they know each other well. And I think Tomlin's going to have that defense playing well. I get your point about not maybe showing them too much fact-finding mission, but I think when it comes to this game, there is a rivalry. And nobody wants to go soft on a rivalry. I see the Steelers coming out of this one 28-23 in what is always a brutal, hard game. Great football game, 2 great teams, Steelers 28-23.
Yeah, this rivalry never disappoints, man. It's Tomlin versus Harbaugh is, believe it or not, it's their 25th time facing off against each other. That's crazy. More than any other, coach versus coach ever. But this Steelers defense, I think one thing they have to do is neutralize Lamar. I feel like Lamar needs to do what Lamar does. Go back to his MVP self and just run the ball. I think the Steelers rush defense, I think they're going to be ready for that. They're allowing runners 3.4 yards a carry. And I know they haven't faced Lamar yet this season, but expect Lamar. I expect Lamar to use his legs a lot this game. I do see the Pittsburgh Steelers getting their first loss, but I feel like it's one loss. They're gonna bounce back. I'm gonna say 27-17.
As a Ravens fan, we haven't looked how I want them to look all season, all year. I think the standard we set last year is so up there that everybody expects us to be back there, but without Yonda, without a real wide receiver too, I think it's exposing our team, honestly. But people are forgetting we're still number 1 in rushing yards. I think, yeah, we are. When it comes to Steelers week, everybody knows in the Ravens organization that you got to bring your best. It's going to be hard-nosed, old-fashioned football. I think it's going to come down to what Mr. Ellis said. I think Big Ben is going to throw a pick while it's tied, and Lamar's going to lead them down the field.
Yes, sir.
Much to Essay's disbelief, but I have the Ravens winning this one 28-21.
The score.
The game I've been waiting for to say. I mean, I had Baltimore winning this for a couple of reasons. One, Baltimore is fresh off a bye, and we're 14-2 off a bye. It's just not favorable for Pittsburgh, and knowing that they also played a hard, gritty football team in Tennessee. And I just want to give them big props because they're the one team I've seen recently that actually slowed down Derrick Henry. So that's big props to them. You know, I was very wrong about that last week, and Pittsburgh's defense just showed how much harder this game will be. Um, I saw Baltimore winning 23-20. I think for the first time this season, you will see Lamar in a 2-minute drill because I thought the Eagles game would go there, which if it did, Lamar did bring us to end the game, and he finished off the drive with a first, and we ended the game 30-28. I see Lamar doing that here. It'll be a very close game. But my only fear I think Baltimore will win this one, but I think Pittsburgh will get us down in Thanksgiving to win the division. And I've said this for weeks. Pittsburgh can win the division, that's fine. But I think Baltimore is just better playing in the wild card, get some momentum and steam, and then push their way as far as they can go. I'm gonna have to take Baltimore here. 23-20. Tucker will be used.
It's gonna be fun, guys. All time, the teams are 23-23 against each other. That's an amazing stat. I mean, you think about that, and you hear all week long just some of the things that people talked about with this rivalry. Ike Taylor was on 105.7 in Baltimore yesterday talking about how back in 2010, when Ben had his legal issues, that Ray Lewis called then the late great Dan Rooney and said, "I'll come to Pittsburgh and talk to him." And he flew to Pittsburgh that night and talked to Ben and then flew back. I mean, that just tells you that these guys might hate each other on the field. There might be some animosity in the fans, but the respect the players have for each other. Ike Taylor talked about how him and Ed Reed playing cards all the time, having fun, hanging out now in retirement life. I mean, it just speaks to the fact that these guys came from an era of football that was different. And I think despite all the craziness that we're living in this world right now, despite the double pandemic that we're all dealing with right now that's keeping us in our homes instead of in school duking it out over this game, this is one constant that we can look back on and just say to ourselves, "Hey, man, this feels normal. This feels like some sense of normalcy." We got Steelers Ravens happen, a game that really matters, a game that's big, and it's the first of two and maybe three, like you guys said out there. So let's just keep hoping that everybody's staying safe, everybody's being responsible, so we can have game 2 and 3 out here. But I'm very excited about that prospect. And again, Steelers are playing with house money in this game. If we win this game, man, I'm going to be over the moon because I'm not expecting it. And the fact that I'm not on edge shaking about this game already tells me two things. Number one says that, whatever happens, there's going to be another opportunity. And two says maybe I'm underrating my own team. But we'll see. Still like Baltimore to get this win at home. We'll see.
I mean, I just have to hit this off, but Dallas did some things in that Washington game that kind of annoyed me. That one play with Andy Dalton where John Bostic did a dirty hit, and that is the dirtiest of the dirtiest hits. And then just to watch the Cowboys just not even do a thing. Like, to me, that's just like I know people want to say, oh, it's McCarthy's fault, it's Nolan's fault, but I don't know how you could say it's their fault. Like, how do you not go and defend your own quarterback? Because I know if that's Dak Prescott, they're defending him. I know every team would defend their quarterback. If that's Lamar Jackson, goodness crazy, you know what Baltimore's going to do. We did it with Joe Flacco. You know what New England would do if that was Cam Newton. We know what they would have done if that was Aaron Rodgers. All those teams would have fought. Every team would have fought. And for Dallas just to sit there and just watch and not even put a hand on John Bostic, like, I could care less about penalties. I could care less, but defending your quarterback is big. Even if that was our own quarterback, Octavian, promise you, we're not going to let them get a dirty hit on Octavian and think that's fine. No, it's not fine. And for Dallas to do that, that's just low and dirty. And that just speaks a lot to Dallas's credibility. I've spoken on this week for weeks. They have a starting safety that doesn't want to give effort every play and says you can't do that. You have a defense that doesn't play to their assignments and then blame their head coach. Like DeMarcus Lawrence, overpaid, doesn't understand how to play outside leverage. But yet last week, I don't know if you guys remember this play, how Jalen Ramsey took down a 300-pound lineman playing outside leverage. And you look at that like, there's nothing you can say. Just Dallas has no effort. They just given up, and you know, to me, it's just a sad case to me, and just what a sad organization. And for once, I just need all these Cowboys fans to shut up and stop talking to me because I have no respect for that organization, and that respect is long gone. It's just out the window. I don't know what you guys think about that, but my respect for them is completely gone. I think they shouldn't even be America's team. They should just be America's dumpster team. I just have no respect for them overall.
Well, no title since beating us in Super Bowl 30. So yeah, far from America's team. But SA, I mean, let's get some quick thoughts on the pack, man, as we close this out. Let's get some quick thoughts on the pack. Make sure we get a closing thought from everybody here before we go, guys. We've got about 4 minutes here. Give everybody a minute here. And SA, give us a little closing thoughts on your team with the big bounce back last week.
Yeah, I mean, Devontae played amazing. We bounced back, but the receivers, there is no receiver except Devontae. Rodgers had 4 touchdowns, over 280 yards, and only 6 yards went to a receiver not named Adams. Only 6. And hopefully we get Will Fuller. The news is real, and we're actually trying. But if we walk out of this trade deadline with no receiver, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised because we do this every year. We just fail to show up in the trade deadline. But I'm just hoping we do something at the trade deadline.
Quick heads up, you won't. We all know this, SA. It's a classic game the Packers do. They're just like Seattle. They just depend on their quarterbacks to do everything, and to a point. I've said this about your team many times. It's not even offense you guys need help out. It's defense as well. You guys have a sorry defense, and you guys get out physicaled. Sorry, just it is what it is. You want to talk crap about Baltimore? We got something for you guys too.
Emmanuel, you're funny, but
what? I've said it. They got out physical by the Bucks.
yeah,
And the Bucks
that's
weren't
true.
together. So if you have something to say about Lamar,
is JPP not physical? Is Sue not physical? Devin White, Levante
is
Davis?
your team physical? That's my question. Is that your
I
team?
mean,
I
yeah.
think your team.
You're gonna act like you're saying by the Bucks as if they're bad, or the Bucks defense is Sue not.
Yeah, but you guys give up once you guys play.
Sue's probably the most physical D tackle.
Let's give everybody a chance to weigh in here. We got about 2.5 minutes here. We give everybody a chance to weigh in, okay?
Faison, you have some thought about the Patriots. What do you think? Because I'm not gonna fight essay on how much of a finesse team they are. But anyway, what do you think?
Yeah, I just feel like Sunday's game for me is just about bouncing back, and like I said, my prediction is the Bills winning solely on the fact that this offense can't move. They can't move the ball, and it's hard to watch. I was gonna tell you guys, like, don't pick the Patriots to beat the Niners, because, like, you guys talk about Bill Belichick. Yeah, that's fine. He's arguably the best coach of all time. He's not playing. He's not gonna. Is Bill Belichick in a lineup at wide receiver? That might be better than N'Keal Harry, first of all. But he's not gonna be playing. And yeah, he's the coach and all, but like he's not gonna play wide receiver. He's not gonna move the ball. It's just about bouncing back, and I feel like if we do win this game, I will be excited about things to come. I think we can win more games if we win Sunday, but it's about bouncing back. Yeah, Mr. Woodward, what you think about it?
Yeah, I'm with you. You know, the reality is a harsh thing, especially here in the Ravens and the Steelers fans talk, because it's so exciting. You know, you're so into it. An essay talking about the Pack, they're staying in there. I mean, they've been relevant for years, and to go into possible irrelevancy status is tough to take. But it's the defense. I mean, I know that this year offense is off the charts everywhere. Guys are lighting it up, but you got to make some stops at some point. And one of you guys mentioned that Boom Tower's not playing for the Patriots, as well as some other defensive guys. And he's like a coach on the field, as well as just being a great football player. He's key plays to win 2 Super Bowls for him. So you can't have those players opt out, and some really good players opt out, and be able to really, be in too many games or run away from too many games. And they got exposed last week. And I think coaching and effort might be enough this week, but it's going to be a week-to-week thing with them, and that's just going to be something that's unusual for us. But you just keep playing.
I just got something to say. Good luck to the Packers, good luck to the Patriots, and good luck to the Steelers. I just got 5 words to say: trust. That's all. Trust. We're gonna beat the Steelers on Sunday, and just trust. That's all I gotta say.
Man. Well, it was a great it was a great opportunity to have you on the show, Mr. Woodward. And you know, it was
Absolutely.
nice. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having me,
always
guys. I,
thanks
I always
for-
like talking to you guys.
Well, thanks for always believing in us too. Thanks for faithfully posting the show on the great Paint Branch Mainstream website. And those of you out there, if you have not checked out Paint Branch Mainstream, there's some great stuff out there. We got some great young writers that Mr. Woodward is cultivating, and always been a source of inspiration for me since I've been at Paint Branch these last few years. Love the paper, love the fire the kids in it, and love the way you fire them up to get it going. And so we appreciate the partnership, and it's awesome. And you know, we're real glad to have you today.
Thanks for that, and thanks for having me on, guys.
Man, we can't wait. Can't wait for the next time. We can't wait for next week, guys. So let's see what happens this week, and we'll keep it moving. But take care, everybody. Best to everyone out there in our fan base on you finishing up the quarter, guys. And thanks, everybody. And just so thankful we can still do this. So appreciate it, everybody. Yes, indeed. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.